Hello everyone, Freemantle here, with something I figure I owe you. In a video I titled Ground Rules, I said that the videos on this channel are about how we ought to live together. I said that part of the right answer to that question is respect for the lives of other people. So I take it you expected, and now I'm going to give you an account of what I mean by respect. I don't mean the movie version of mafiosi respect, which as it plays in the films is usually a combination of fear and obeisance. Honoring another person or habitual deference to someone, those aren't the same as respect because each of them suggests superiority in the person who's being honored. We can have our favorite people, but favoring a person isn't the same as respecting him either. I use the common meaning of the word respect. I don't recast the word the way the liberal recasts the word freedom when he says a hungry man isn't really free, where he's just changing the meaning of the word so that free means being able to do something or other. Of course, a hungry man can be really free if we're talking about political or legal freedom. In the same way, the liberal sometimes tries to recast the word respect so that it means improving somebody's situation. So having equal respect for people would mean giving them things so that everybody's moving towards social equality, if you use the word respect the way the liberal recasts it. But that's not the common meaning. From the dictionary, this is the Oxford English Dictionary, to respect is to treat with consideration, to refrain from injuring or interfering with. That's the way I use the word respect. Respect, as I use the word, is basically a judgment that the other person stands on the same level I do, and therefore I ought to let him be and not dictate thought or act to him. My act is respectful if it accords with such a judgment. When you respect other people, you accommodate them. In respecting you, they accommodate you, a mutual give and take. In a robust, ongoing free society, social interaction shows this mutual accommodation as each of us pursues his own goals in life and accommodates other people who are pursuing theirs. Mutual accommodation is what a free society has in place of the coerced, regulated interaction of people that's distinctive of a liberal society. In respecting other people, you take in not only their private lives, but also their professional lives. I'd say that no part of a person's life is more important than his professional life. I'm talking here about a person's life work, the projects and goals where he invests everything he is, whether it's raising children or building bridges or playing baseball. In respecting others, we refrain from injuring or interfering with their professional lives. This gives us a moral presumption in favor of capitalism. In accommodating others as respect requires, you play by the rules when you could get away with cheating on the other players. When you accommodate others and you see that the handicapped man is taking 2 parking spaces to get out of his car, you park someplace else, walk back, and you don't resent it. Now, these adjustments on your part in mutual accommodations, give and take in respecting others, is not self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice occurs where a person is meeting all his relevant obligations and he willingly and voluntarily takes a worse option for advancing toward his goals than he could have taken. He's morally on the up and up all the way through, but he also knowingly refuses to take the best course of action that he could have taken. Self-sacrifice is morally wrong. You should be working to make your life as fulfilled and happy as it can be. Mutual accommodation is consistent with that. You're not sacrificing yourself when you accommodate others in a free society. That's because of all you gain by living in a free society. A liberal has no difficulty being respectful in ordinary, face-to-face, common courtesy. Everybody can manage common courtesy. But take it up one level of abstraction and think of people dealing with one another not face-to-face, but as drivers of cars, let's say. You've heard of road rage? Take it up one more level of abstraction, where people deal with one another through politics. The liberals' politics do not respect people. You make stupid choices in feeding yourself, so he should make the choices. You might not think well enough of women if you say chairman, so you should be pressured to say chairperson. The liberal's reputation for tolerance, a reputation that is the product of his self-advertising, is bogus. He is not evincing respect when he regulates what you put in your body, or recognizing virtue when he pushes chairperson instead of chairman. He's sympathizing with people he thinks are downtrodden, who he also thinks can't solve their problems. So liberal takes on your cause. It's no compliment to you, that's for sure. Many Americans, it seems, feel a sense of civic malaise these days. They see people around them as less civil, less trustworthy. Our lives together seem to be growing more inharmonious, as researchers have reported in, for example, a bestseller of some years ago called Bowling Alone. Not for a minute does it occur to the liberal that his welfare state is causing any of it. The problem, he believes, is that we center our lives around personal ambitions and private concerns. We drag our heels in being our brother's keepers. Our capitalist economy turns down, costing livelihoods, business failures, desperation. Business interests corrupt our democracy. But always, the heart of the problem is that we're not living by liberal ideals. On the other side of that explanation, though, is a gap in the liberal's account he needs to fill in. American political history has been slipping and skipping and speeding leftward for half a century. That I can say from first-hand experience. Today, the country is certainly dominated by liberal consensus. Along with that liberal progress, though, incivility and malaise, suspicion, and so on have increased, according to research, as in the book Bowling Alone. In other words, liberal influence and incivility have risen together. We should ask, has the liberal influence caused the incivility? That the two have moved together doesn't tell us that it has. Correlation is not causation, as it's correctly said. It could be just coincidence that liberalism and incivility have moved up together. And the liberal says that the incivility is the product of non-liberal influence. He says the cause is somewhere among all the things going on in America that aren't liberal. But non-liberal influence has declined through the years as liberal influence has grown. So we should sharpen our question and ask the liberal this. How can liberal influence have grown through the years and incivility increased while non-liberal influence has declined unless liberalism has been one cause of the incivility? And we shouldn't be surprised if it is. The first rule of life in the liberal world is, want something? Take it away by force from somebody else. Or to put it in nasty and accurate terms, the first rule of life in the liberal world is, gouge and grab. Would you expect a world like that to be harmonious? In one of my books, I made up a pastiche credo to illustrate the four principles I call basic liberalism. I talk about the four principles in other videos, but roughly, basic needs, democracy, society before the individual, and individual inadequacy in the business of living. Here's the gist of that credo, and I state it here from a liberal's point of view. We should aspire, as members of a human community, to a fair sharing of the common burdens and chance misfortunes of life between those who can and those who cannot afford them. Each of us deserves to be satisfied in his basic needs, equally satisfied so far as that can be done. The best means for giving each and all these things we deserve is a democratic arrangement of society. I believe in the civil liberties without which democracy cannot flourish. I believe that we should all enjoy freedom. I believe that the individual fulfillment of each of us is only to be reached in this society, where the first business of each is the well-being of all, where democracy gives each of us a voice and a role, and where community, flourishing from the dedication of each of us, makes possible for each the highest, finest, noblest, most human and humane lives we can live. Every particular of this credo is opposed by respecting the lives of others. We are not respecting the lives of people when we force them to share the burdens of other lives, or to satisfy the basic needs of others, or to do that equally, or when we base society on democracy, or justify civil liberties because democracy requires them, or force some people to enable others to enjoy freedom. A society of force and disrespect for the lives of other people is not a good society, and it is not the right way to reach for individual fulfillment. The takeaway from today's video: respect is not about giving people things. It's about staying out of their way. A respectful person accommodates the other person, and a society in which people respect one another shows mutual accommodation among them. We should not be surprised if the disrespect for the lives of other people that characterizes a welfare state has had a hand in causing the civic malaise, the disharmony among us that many people report. Thank you for listening.